This stretch the Dolphins are on is the kind that splits the fan base, puts the coach under the spotlight, and throws the future of the franchise quarterback right into the fire, all at once. On one side, there's a ground game that's straight up bullying defenses, a defense taking the ball away like it's 2020 again, and a team that just refuses to fold even when everybody counted them out. On the other, you've got a division title drought that feels endless and a wave of doubt hitting Tua Tagovailoa harder than ever. The big question is simple. Are we watching a real turnaround or just a temporary flash? You won't believe what we got today. So grab a seat, drop that like, and let's roll into the news. Let's dive right into the first big storyline around this Dolphins run, because the truth goes way deeper than people outside Miami think. But there's also a lot more reason for optimism than national media is giving us. If you're just glancing at the standings, all you see is a 5-7 team chasing a playoff spot that looks like a long shot. But if you're living this team every Sunday, you know something shifted in that locker room over the last 5 weeks. And it's not just a hot streak from the running back room. It's identity, it's formula, and more than anything, it's personality in big moments. For wins in the last 5 games, 3 straight coming into a trip to MetLife to take on the Jets, and one detail you can't ignore. Every single win this season came in games where Miami ran the ball at least 30 times. That's not coincidence. That's math screaming at us. When this team commits to the run, the scoreboard follows. When it gets seduced by pretty third and long passes, the bill comes due. And the obvious centerpiece of this shift is Devon Achane, playing at a level we haven't seen since Ricky Williams. He changed the whole vibe. But stopping at Achane being a beast is lazy analysis. What's really happening is that this team found a style that protects its weaknesses. With 30-plus carries a game and over 160 rushing yards in each of the last 3, the offense controls the clock, keeps the defense fresh, leans on teams at the line of scrimmage, and forces opponents to adjust to Miami's tempo instead of the other way around. Meanwhile, the defense has been riding that wave. 14 takeaways this season, half of them in the last 3 games against the Bills, Commanders, and Saints. Short fields, more chances, more confidence. That's complementary football doing its job. Another massive factor is playing ahead. In all 5 wins, the Dolphins trailed only once, briefly, against Washington early in the 4th. When Miami gets out in front, this defense can crank up the pressure, hunt the ball, force mistakes. The problem is that the formula is strong but fragile. Washington and New Orleans are 5-19 combined, and those games could have slipped away. That signature win, that real statement, the kind even New England just delivered against the Giants, still hasn't come. And the reason is simple. The passing game isn't scaring anybody right now. And that brings us right to the uncomfortable part, because this whole conversation lands in Tua Tagovailoa's lap. Without Tyreek Hill, with Darren Waller only now getting healthy again. Yeah, the support system hasn't been ideal. But the honest truth is that Miami's passing attack is living off flashes instead of consistency. The offense shifted by necessity when Waller hit injured reserve before the Atlanta game, and leaning on the run has worked. But nobody survives on 160 rushing yards every week in a league that adjusts this fast. Eventually, defenses will sell out to stop Achane. And when that happens, the quarterback has to carry the load. Over the last 7 games, Tua's rating sits at 74.4. For a guy with that contract and that level of investment, that doesn't cut it. He doesn't need to be the monster from 2022 and 2023. That video game offense everyone remembers, but he does need to be sharp, reliable, accurate. The good news is that a healthy Waller plus chemistry with the receivers still standing can open things up again. The bad news is that the turnovers won't keep falling from the sky. This run of 3 straight games with multiple takeaways is their longest since 2020. It's a trend, not something you can bank on forever. So here's the question for you as a fan. Is this formula of 30 carries plus a defense forcing turnovers enough to carry an aerial attack that forgot how to finish games? Or are we just delaying a bigger issue? Because as we celebrate this stretch, the clock on the season is ticking, and the moment when Tua has to prove he's still a franchise guy is racing toward us. And that wasn't even the hardest news of the day. While we were all celebrating this ground game and turnover surge, keeping the ship afloat, the second hit came Monday night after the Patriots blew out the Giants 33-15. New England clinched the AFC East for the first time in years, and the Miami Dolphins extended their division title drought to 17 straight seasons, longest in franchise history, worse than the 7-year stretch from 2001 to 2007. Last time we won, it was 2008, before the Bills' 5-year run, and now the Pats climbing back to the top. Here's why this matters. It's not just a stat for the sake of stats. It's a harsh reminder of where we are and what's still ahead. At 5-7 with 5 games left, the best-case scenario is 10-7, and New England already sits at 11-2 before their bye. They've got a clear path. Beat Buffalo in Week 15, or the Jets in Week 17, or Miami in the finale at Gillette. It's like the schedule was built to hand them the bow on top of the division. Meanwhile, the fan base is split in half. Some saying we were left for dead at 2-7. Others screaming that 17 years is disgraceful. But strategically, the drought didn't continue because this team quit. If anything, the recent surge shows that without the division pressure, there's space to focus on a playoff push and build toward 2026. Still, for anyone who bleeds aqua and orange, it's rough watching Buffalo fall off. The Pats rise back up, and Miami stuck in neutral. The Jets haven't won the division since 2002. The AFC East became a carousel, and Miami hasn't been on it in forever. So what does that mean for the rest of the season? Freedom, basically. Without the chase for seeding, McDaniel can experiment, give rookies real snaps, tweak what hasn't worked without the fear of crushing playoff odds. But there's a huge catch. This loose, nothing-to-lose mindset has to translate to winning habits, or 2026 will just be more reruns. To make things even louder, the roster moves on Tuesday screamed urgency on the offensive line. They brought Keon Smith back to the practice squad, versatile at guard and tackle, cutting Braden Daniels to clear space. Smith's been around since 2021, played 20 regular season games, started in weeks 2 and 3 before Buffalo. Benched him. That's McDaniel saying we need depth right now to keep the run game alive. Hayden Rucci went to the Lions, but the team tried out Cole Turner, who has 13 career grabs with Washington, and Marshall Lang from Northwestern. With Waller, Hill, and Dulcich on the active roster plus Myrick and Connor on the practice squad, tight end remains a key spot for helping Tua when the ground game stalls. More on the radar for Week 15. They picked up Adam Thielen from Minnesota. Former Dolphin Myles Gaskin was cut by the Seahawks after 6 yards on 3 carries. Matt Dickerson joined the Jaguars practice squad. The Commanders re-signed Robbie Chosen. Even birthdays for Channing Crowder and O.J. McDuffie hit the cycle. Every bit of it points towards stacking depth for the season's final chaos. Strategy all the way. Division hopes gone. But the push for a miracle wild card stays alive. And the fan reaction is wild. Some want heads rolling. Others want this drought used as fuel. But hold up, because if the division streak hurts, what comes next about our quarterback is the kind of topic that splits households. Tua, once the definition of precision, has become a mystery nobody can quite solve. There's no way to face this moment without looking directly at our quarterback. Tua, who built his reputation on timing and accuracy, is dealing with a slump that hits at the core of this offense. In recent games, the staff shortened the plan. Fewer passes, heavier ground game, more control. It keeps the team steady, but also shows how badly the offense needs his confidence back. The roster feels it. The fans feel it. And inside all the noise, there's room for correction. Clean mechanics. Faster reads in the middle of the field. Taking the check down without hesitation when coverage tightens. Leaning on play action to reset his rhythm. With Waller rounding back into form and a chain forcing defenses to drop that safety, windows will be there. Tua doesn't need to be the hero. He needs to be steady. Throw away the risky third and long pass. Hit Waddle on the slant with anticipation. Nail the timing on those crossers that used to be his trademark. And when the defense hands him a short field, turn those 3s into 7s. If that shift comes now, it changes the locker room, the narrative, and the long-term conversation. Because if he gets back to basics and trims the mistakes, the whole offense breathes again. And while we're all strapped into this roller coaster, remember this. There's still time to flip the story. This Dolphins season turned into a full-on test of belief and identity. We watched a powerful formula emerge with a dominant run game, a turnover-hunting defense, and a team that refused to accept 2-7 as a death sentence. At the same time, we confronted a brutal division drought and all the doubts thrown at Tua and the franchise's future. It's in this collision of hope and frustration that real narrative shifts are born. So here's what I want from you. Is this stretch the start of a legitimate rebuild or just another chapter of almost in Miami's recent history? Drop your thoughts on what you'd change today if you could speak straight to the front office and the locker room. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and share this with that friend who's ready to jump ship. Because around here, we ride for this logo no matter what.